Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining. My name is Katie Reynolds. I'm the Retention Marketing Channel Manager at Redfin, and today I'm so excited to talk to you all about writing good emails. Emails that your readers will actually enjoy and open. So let's dive in. Today, I'll start by giving you a little context about Redfin and about myself so you know what I'm talking about throughout the presentation. I'll talk about the difference between your boss and your reader and what they want. And then I'll really dig into the 5 steps I've developed for writing reader-centered emails. Then I'll give you a couple case studies to show you that this strategy actually works. And then I'll take some questions. First, a little bit about Redfin and about myself. I've been at Redfin for almost 3 years. Redfin is a technology-powered real estate brokerage that helps people buy and sell homes. We got our start by inventing map-based real estate search, and today we're in more than 80 US markets as well as Canada. I spent my first 2 years in email marketing living and breathing iterable templates and experimentation. For the last year, I've actually moved into experimentation with copy and messaging directly in our site and our app. But I found the same lessons from email marketing to be true no matter what channel you're working in. And that truth is this: that we as marketers often write copy for our bosses, not our readers. What does this actually mean? What I mean by this is when we are looking to promote a product or a service, we think first about what we want our readers to know, instead of thinking about what our readers or our users actually care about and what they want to hear from us. Then once we've written this brand-centered content, we tend to give it to our manager or our boss who already knows and loves the company. And so they're more likely to greenlight this copy that's already about the company. But our users, all of our users, don't care about our brands. They care about what our brands and our companies can do for them. This distinction between brand-centered writing and reader-centered writing might seem small throughout this presentation, but I promise that I've seen a big difference in how readers react to and engage with content that's focused on them instead of on us. So I'll start with a really obvious statement. Businesses and users have different problems. This statement might sound obvious, idiotically so, but we as marketers forget this fact all the time. I'll show you an example to help you see what I mean. Let's say I have a fake business called Cat Leashes Are Us. I invented this fake business because I actually take my cat on hikes in the Pacific Northwest, and because I'll use any reason to show pictures of this little guy. So say my fake business has a new product, which is longer and stretchier cat leashes. I'm so excited, I want all of my customers to know about it. So I'll send an email with a subject line like this: just in, new leashes. This subject line is fine. It says what the email's about, and probably some people would open this. But my customers don't care that I have new leashes. Their problem is actually that when they're hiking, their cat wants to explore further off trail than they tend to want to go. If I focused on this problem when I was writing an email, I would write a subject line closer to this: let your cat wander off trail. Now, this is a silly and abstract example. Maybe you're already thinking, I came here to listen to her talk about Redfin and she's talking about cats hiking. I don't even know what that is. So let me get a little bit closer to home, so to speak. And let's rip apart a real example, one of my own. This long email is an email we used to send to new Redfin users, telling them why they should work with and tour with Redfin. And yes, the right-hand snapshot is a continuation of the left-hand snapshot. Let me pick apart just a few issues I see with my own email. Right away, this header, why buy with Redfin? We are immediately telling users that this email is about us, Redfin, instead of about them. We're also asking users a question they don't care about yet. This copy, if you can see it, is generic and full with platitudes like 100% on your side or every step of the way, which are not helpful descriptors of how Redfin agents actually help people buy and sell homes. Finally, this right-hand screenshot is, I believe, every value proposition Redfin has ever come up with for why you should work with us, written out in one long list. as though reading each one of these would convince users to work with us. This email, unsurprisingly, had a pretty low click rate. I'm surprised anyone clicked at all. So let's fix it. Here are the 5 steps I've developed for writing reader-centered and user-centered emails. I'm going to walk through each of these steps one by one for how you can shift your thinking and, more importantly, actionable tips for how you can adjust and shift your writing so that it's focused on your reader, not on your product or on your company. First, identify your user's problem and your business problem. Your user problems are the goals or the problems that your customers have that you believe your business or your product solves. When I'm thinking about user problems, I try to picture myself as one of our customers and think about the challenges I may be facing that Redfin could help with. When I write out these user problems, I find it really helpful to put all of them in first person to force myself and remind myself to focus on our users. If your business utilizes personas at all, you can also do the same exercise with your personas and think about the problems they may have. Now, it is important for me to note that your user problems will never, ever be that they don't know how great your company is. I unfortunately, to be honest, see this within Redfin sometimes with a stated user problem of, I don't know how great Redfin is, but that is never your user's primary challenge, unless you're only marketing to your brand's super fans. Your users care about how your brand can help you, help them, or delight them, and that's it. Now, once you've identified your user problems for an email campaign, it's also important to identify what business problem this email campaign is trying to solve for. Your business may have a lot of different goals, but usually for one email, you should have one business problem you are solving for. For example, a campaign's goal may be to drive awareness, to increase conversion, or simply to educate users. Listing out and identifying which business problem this campaign is looking to solve will help you focus on what metrics will tell you if you were successful or not. This is particularly helpful when in experimentation, when you may see a wide range of metrics go up and down. But if you know what business problem your campaign is solving for, you'll know which metrics to pay attention to. Once you've identified your user problem and your business problem, brainstorm 3 to 4 ways that your product or service or software fixes your user problems. There won't always be more than one solution to problem matching, but I find this exercise helpful for brainstorming different email campaigns I could use in the future, even if that's not the focus for this email campaign I'm working on right now. Once you have your list of user solutions, it is so important to only focus on one solution per email. This is especially important, I have found, when releasing new products or services, because when you've got a new thing, everyone at your company is so excited about the new thing, and we want to tell everyone all of the ways our new product and service is great. I'll walk through an example, though, of why it's important to only focus on one solution answering your user problems in an email. At Redfin, we often find that our home buyers want to see new homes as fast as possible, particularly in competitive markets. Redfin offers a service of instant tour booking, where you can book a tour same day, quickly, to see a home as fast as possible. So if I've identified this user problem and I know that this is the product I want to highlight for these users, I'll brainstorm all of the ways that this product is helpful for home buyers. You can schedule same-day home tours, you can change your tour times really easily, and you can add homes to your tour. But by now, I hope it's clear to you which solution I should focus on, and that is scheduling same-day home tours. I can talk about adding multiple homes to a tour later, but for this email, to solve this user problem, I'm going to focus on just this solution. Now, steps 4 and 5 are just good copywriting practices, but they're super important as part of this process. Because if you go through steps 1 through 3, you might end up with some good ideas, but if you're using vague language or you're using too many words in your email, what you are writing will be less effective. And first, it's very important that you write with specific visual language. Now that you've identified the user problem and the solution you want to highlight, try to picture exactly what that solution looks like. Try to picture someone going through that solution and then write out what you're picturing. Sometimes I find it helpful to even draw what that solution looks like. So for example here, in the original email I showed you, language in the copy said, buy the house you want. But what does that actually look like? What does buying the home you want look like? I could picture instantly finding out when new homes that match my criteria come on the market. I picture being able to see homes as quickly as possible. And then once I've found a home I love, I want to make sure I have an agent who's really competitive. Already, this language is more specific and more compelling, talking about how our service can help home buyers. This language, used in email, will be more engaging and more relevant to your users and will make them more likely to open and engage with your emails. Next, it is so important to keep your sentences short and simple and keep those verbs active. Email marketing is not the place to break literary ground and experiment with the English language form or whatever language you're working in. I don't think I have to tell you that all of our users' attention span is really short, and so you have to make your message clear and obvious and actionable. This lesson is particularly important in subject lines. I could talk for another hour about designing subject lines, but instead I'll leave you with what I've coined as my subject line secret sauce. And that is an active verb at the beginning, personalization if that's part of your Iterable toolkit, a keyword describing what the email is actually about, and then if you have space, including a value prop describing why what you're emailing about is better or more compelling for your users. Below the secret sauce formula here, I've included a few examples, and you can already start to put some of these active verbs together with other pieces to make strong subject lines, like see new Seattle homes first. Explore gluten-free recipes your kids will love. This works quite well with the example I showed you before. The original subject line was what to expect when you buy with Redfin, which is very passive. The words buy and Redfin are right near the end of the subject line. But if I go through this exercise and use this secret sauce, I end up with something much more compelling and much simpler and easier to understand. See new homes first. You can picture what that looks like and you can understand it much better. But does this work? I often know sometimes when I've gone through copywriting workshops, I think, oh, those are best practices. I should keep those in mind. And then I forget them and wander away from that. But when you go through these 5 steps, I promise you will see results in your open rates, your click rates, and your conversion. I'll show you a few examples of how we have tested to show that this works. Remember that email I keep referring to? That heavily branded email? Let's look at how we fixed it. As a reminder, this email went to new Redfin users, and our business problem was that we wanted our new users to tour and buy with Redfin. But again, this email was so focused on Redfin and why you should work with us that the open rates and the click rates were meh. So I went through something very similar to these steps I'm proposing to you today. I thought about common user problems that home buyers have, and for this email, I identified that our users don't want to miss out on new homes that they love. I thought about ways that Redfin offers solutions to that problem, and for this email, I focused on speed and how quickly we tell all users when new homes are on the market, and how we notify them instantly about these new homes. So you'll recognize this subject line secret sauce here as well. For this new subject line, it says new, got some personalization, listings, which is the keyword, refreshed every 5 minutes. That's our value prop. You changed the header to new home updates 3 hours earlier to get at how specifically Redfin can address our user problems. The only changes we made testing this campaign were the subject line and the header and some of the copy. And just from those changes alone, no edits to the image or to the email design, we saw a 25% increase in the open rate and a 114% increase in click rate. on a still fairly branded email campaign. I'll show you another example of how we applied these steps to some of our emails. This is another email we sent to new Redfin users promoting the Redfin app. And our business problem was we wanted to get users to use the app. I'll highlight a few ways that this email makes me cringe now. The subject line, "Your home search faster," is vague and doesn't tell you what you're getting in the email or why you should care. The headline here, "The Redfin App Advantage," is again all brand centered about Redfin, and it doesn't tell you why you should care about this email. The copy here is actually pretty strong, and it lists out a few reasons or a few methods of how the Redfin app actually helps users by showing you homes on the go, getting you updates instantly. So I didn't want to mess with the copy too much. Instead, I pulled out of that copy the user problem we're trying to address, which is that our users don't want to miss out on new homes that they may love. And I brought that user problem and our solution that the app offers into the subject line. Again, a little bit of the secret sauce. Here, "be the first" is doing double duty as our active verb and our value prop. We've got new, personalization, and our keyword all in the subject line here. And then the header also gets at the specific ways that our app helps users see new homes they'll love. With just a few simple changes again in this email, we saw a nearly 50% increase in open rate and an almost 300% increase in click rate, which are massive increases for fairly simple tests. And that's one of the big takeaways I want to highlight from these two case studies I've shown you. These were simple, straightforward experiments that we ran by doing a lot of work before we tested the copy to make sure that the copy was reader-centered. We were able to run simple tests and get big results. The other takeaway I want to highlight from these case studies, as well as all the other examples I've shown so far in the presentation, is that you won't have a million user problems that you have to solve for, nor do you have to go through these 5 steps every single time you're writing a new email campaign. It's important to identify the key core user problems that your product or service is solving again and again, go through these steps and identify some strong reader-centered language so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you're starting a new email campaign. It is important to test it because I have found in my own experience, it takes some good hard data to prove to my managers and my bosses that reader-centered copy works. But it does. With simple tests and just shifting your thinking and your writing, you can make your emails more enjoyable for all of your users and more effective for your business. So to review, make sure you're always identifying the user problem you're solving for in each email campaign and what business problem that email is hoping to achieve. Brainstorm 3 to 4 solutions that your product solves for your user problems. Focus on only one of those solutions per email. Make sure you're writing with specific visual language that will compel your users. And make sure to keep those sentences short and simple and keep those verbs active. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that these steps are actionable and helpful for you and your own writing of emails. I am happy to take any questions you may have here in the live chat. I will also be available in the virtual lounge after this to talk about copywriting and emails and writing for your readers, not your users. Thank you so much. You can also reach me at my email address here. Thanks.